Hi everyone, my name is Varsha and welcome to Study with Varsha. So today we are going to discuss about Apache HTTP server. So what is Apache, why we are going to discuss it, each and everything we will understand. So first is what is Apache. So Apache Web Server, or we can say Apache HTTPD. So what do you mean by HTTPD? HTTPD is HTTP plus D. D means daemon server that will use to run in the background. So that is an open source web server that helps to deliver web pages to users over the internet. And in this process it will be browse from the browser and sub website using the HTTP protocol. So in this video we are going to understand Apache Web Server from the basics. Like Apache HTTP server, commonly called as HTTPD, is an open source web server that is used to host the website on the internet. Okay, used to serve. With the meaning of serve means it is serving. So whenever a user enter a website URL in a browser such as like example.com or studywithvarsha.com, the browser sends an HTTP or HTTPS request to the server. Now the Apache server received that request and sends a back response to the HTML pages, CSS file, image or application. So in a simple term, the process works like, for example, we are a user and we are browse sends request to the Apache, and then Apache process the request and website is displayed in the browser. So for example, if we are using any website like this one, okay, so now if whatever we are writing, study with Varsha, okay, now we are entering the request, it is going, it will search some study with Varsha content and then it will displays to us. Okay, so like that it will used to work. Okay, fine. Now why Apache server is used for, why we are using Apache server? See, Apache we are using, there is a reason that it used to serve many purpose in the web infrastructure. The first and the most common use in hosting website. So we can host both, like why hosting websites? So in Apache we can host both static as well as dynamic website using the Apache Tomcat. So Apache can also serve static dynamic content as well. So static content include like HTML, CSS, image, while dynamic content can include application built with PHP, Python, Java or other technology. So that's why we are using. Another important use cases of Apache is reverse proxy. This means Apache can receive requests from users and forward them to the backend applications such as Node.js or Python applications. And even Apache also support load balancing. This is very interesting, where incoming traffic is distributed across multiple servers to improve the performance. Additionally, Apache support SSL and HTTPS. SSL is nothing but a certificate which helps secure website by encrypting communication between user and the server. Apache also provide logging and monitoring feature which allow administrator to track requests and identifying errors. Now, why Apache is popular? Because other things is also there. Even Cloudflare is there. Uh, so many things is there. So why Apache? So Apache is one of the most widely used web server in the world. Why? There are several reasons for its popularity. First is it is open source, so we are not going to pay anything, which means it is free to use and modify. Second, Apache is highly configurable. So one file is there in the Apache, uh, that is configuration file. So you can configure, you can change each and everything, port and everything. So it highly configurable. It also provide configuration option that allow ministers to like administrator to customize the behavior of the server. Third is Apache supports a wide range of modules. So module means we can reuse multiple times. So module extend the functionality of Apache and provide additional capabilities such as security, proxying, caching, and finally Apache is very large community, which means there is extensive documentation and support available online. Now, Apache versus Nginx. Why we have to use Nginx or why we have to use Apache? So see, Apache and Nginx are two most popular web servers. So Apache uses a process-based architecture where each connection is handled by a process of thread. While on the other hand, Nginx uses a event-driven architecture, which allow it to handle a large number of connections more efficiently. So because of this, Nginx generally perform better in high traffic environment. However, Apache is often considered as a easier to configure and provide support for like any kind of files which allow percent tightly directory configuration. Nginx does not support .stxs files. So both servers are widely used in modern DevOps and cloud environment. Now, see, there are many ways to install Apache, but Apache web server is typically used Linux server, common Linux distribution which Ubuntu, CentOS, Amazon Linux, or many more. So Apache can be installed using the operating system package manager, for example Ubuntu or CentOS. So yum install sudo, because root users should be required, that's why we are using sudo apt install Apache 2 if you are using apt Ubuntu. If you are using Amazon Linux or CentOS, then you have to use install httpd. That is the only difference. So after installation, the Apache service is started and verified by opening the server IP addressing in a web browser. So if Apache is running correctly, a default Apache welcome page will appear. Now, Apache directory structure. So once Apache is installed, several important directories were created. So I'm not going to discuss all because each and everything is there in the configuration file, but the most important directory is var www html. So what it means, this directory contain website files. One second. Yeah, so var www html. So this directory contains the website file that Apache servers used. For example, the main web pages file is typically called index.html and it is placed inside the var www html, or whatever the you can want to write display in the browser, you can write in this file. So another important directory is etcd httpd. So this directory contain Apache configuration file. So that file only I was talking about. Inside this Apache configuration file, which will be present in this path etcd httpd, you will get all this information and even this directory path as well. So Apache logs are also stored in var log httpd. So all information you will get in this file. So if you want to remember one path, you can go with this. You can just say if your interviewer is asking etc httpd, inside this path one configuration file is there and all the information like important directory and logs you will get in this file. But even though you can, I think aram se you can easily remember these three paths. So these logs help administrate, monitor server activity and troubleshoot issue. Now Apache configuration basics. So Apache configuration is managed through the main configuration file that is called httpd.conf. So see, if you are using, one second, if you are using this one, where it went, this Amazon Linux or CentOS, okay, then httpd is there. So if you are using Amazon Linux or CentOS, then this file is called as httpd.conf. But if you are using Ubuntu, then apache2.conf file will be there. So this file contains several important directive, and one of the most directive is listen. So listen port, like port will be there na, which specify the port on which Apache listen for the incoming request. So by default in Apache that is will be 80. But another directive is server name, which defines the domain name of the website. The document root directory specifies where the directory website files are stored. So Apache also uses directory blocks to control access permission for a specific folder. So you can change or you can give as per your convenient this port and listener ports, document root, each and everything. If you want as per your convenient, you can change. But I'll suggest you, if you want, you can just change the port. Rest everything you can leave as it is. And yeah, for security reasons you can change something incoming traffic, and that you will understand once we are doing the practical. But as of now you just understand whatever I'm saying. Okay, hosting a static website. So we understand what is a static website, but how we will host? So hosting a static website is Apache is very simple. So first an HTML file is created for the website, like index.html or anything. So this file placed inside the Apache Web Server, usually var www.html. So once the file is placed here, opening the server IP address in a browser will display the web pages, and Apache automatically serve the files stored in this directory. It is very simple. Now, virtual host. So one powerful features of the Apache is a virtual host. What do you mean by virtual host? It means it will allow multiple websites to run on a single Apache server. For example, one server can host multiple domains such as example1.com, example2.com, or anything. So each website has its own virtual host configuration, which defines the domain name and the directory containing the website files. So this will allow organization to host many websites on the same server. Now, HTTPD and SSL. So HTTPS means security is very important for this modern website. Instead of using HTTPD, most websites today are using HTTPS. S means security, which encrypt communication between the browser and the server. HTTPS requires an SSL certification. So SSL certification, Apache support SSL configuration and can use free certification provided by Let's Encrypt. So when SSL is enabled, users will see a lock icon in the browser and indicating that the connection is secure. Even many companies using SSL only. Now, Apache reverse proxy. So Apache can also act as a reverse proxy server. So in this setup, Apache reverse incoming request and forward them to the backend application server. For example, user Apache Node.js.application. So in this architecture, Apache acts as a gateway between user and the backend services. So this improves security and helps manage traffic efficiently. Now, Apache load balancing. So Apache also support load balancing. What do you mean by it? Load balancing will distribute the incoming traffic across multiple server. One like user request will come, then it will come to Apache. Now in Apache itself multiple server will be there, so it in this way it will distribute the load. Now real DevOps architecture. So this is the architecture. You, if you want, you can take the screenshot. See, internet, someone is going and hitting. Now DNS will be there, that will use to convert machine code to our code to machine code, that route 53. After that it will go to the load balancer, then Apache Nginx will be there. Here reverse proxy will be there, and application server and database. So in this architecture, Apache often act as a web server or reverse proxy layer. Now last is, if you want, you can explore this topic or take a screenshot, and then we will discuss it in the tomorrow class. So thank you for watching Study with Varsha. Have a great day.